and welcome back to the Gluten-Free Guru channel. My name is Tanya and today we're going to be making a German dish called Rouladen. For this you're going to need some kind of thinly sliced beef. We have inside round because it will be cooking down for an hour or two. So it will get tender and you won't get that tough beef from a cheaper cut. You will also need bacon, onions, garlic, butter, olive oil, beef broth, or if you already have a powder like we have today, just mix it with water. Dijon mustard, salt and pepper to taste, pickles, and cornstarch. Okay, so let's get started. What you want to do with your meat is just trim off the fat, and then you are going to want to pound them down. So to thin your meat, be sure to put saran wrap over top of it just to make sure it doesn't splatter everywhere. And probably want to use a plastic flat cutting board so that way you don't make dents like I did one time on my wooden cutting board. So yeah, definitely want to avoid that. We're using just a regular butcher's mallet with the spike side. And flip and smash. Let's start stuffing them, rolling them, and frying them. So first what you want to do is add salt and pepper. This will be going in beef broth, so don't be too heavy-handed with the salt. Next, take a little bit of Dijon mustard, depending on how spicy you like it or how, I guess, mustardy you like it. You can add more or less. Spread it out. This one might be a little much, but we can just put it onto the next one. Make sure you have two separate spoons so that way you don't dip the meat spoon back into your Dijon mustard. Next, the bacon. If it's a little long, you can either cut it in half, or if you like a lot of bacon, just fold it. If you want to go healthier, you can even use chicken bacon or turkey bacon. Once you have all your rouladens with the mustard, bacon, salt, and pepper and flattened out, what you're going to want to do is cut up your onions. We have a medium onion that half we cut up into strips and the other half we diced. The diced half will be used for this sauce as well as the 2 garlic cloves. And the strips we will be putting inside of our rouladen. We will also be needing pickles. So I prefer dill pickles over sweet pickles for this. And you're going to want to cut them thin lengthwise. Alternatively to cutting them into thin strips, you can cut them into quarters and add just 1 quarter to each of them. But we like pickles. It makes for a better flavor of your rouladen. Okay, so first you're going to want to add your onion strips. You can add more or less depending how much you like onions. Add 2 to 3 pickle strips and roll. There you go. So in order to keep them nicely bound when you start to fry them up, you could take either a pin or string around it. I'm going to use a pin, and you just kind of want to weave in and out just to make sure it stays in place. And then you're just going to do it for all the rest of them. If you want to use toothpicks just to be safe, you can dip them in water or soak them in water before you fry them, just so that way they don't burn. But toothpicks do break fairly easily compared to, obviously, metal. So, perfect. So now over to your pot, you're going to want to add about a teaspoon of butter and about the same amounts of olive oil. And this is empty. Almost. And the reason we add olive oil is so that it doesn't burn as easily. While you're waiting, you can get a plate ready and your uncooked rouladen, so that way you can just pop them into your pot, and when they're nice and brown, you're going to flip them till they're brown, then put them on a plate. So a good way to test to see if your butter and oil is hot is just to throw in a piece of meat that may have broken off. If it's sizzling, it's good to go. I'm actually just going to feed this to my cat. Okay, now that it's nice and hot, everything, let's add our rouladen. Da-da-da. So you're probably going to want to leave them in for about 3 to 4 minutes, or you can try to flip one with a pair of tongs, see if it's brown on the one side. If it is, then you know they're ready to flip. And then same goes for that other side. Check to see if they're brown, or wait about 3 to 4 minutes and then take them out. Alright, so let's check to see if they can be flipped. Yeah, that's kind of the brown you want. If you wanted to let it go a little bit more, you can as well. Once they're brownish on both sides, take them off. The ones that are a little bigger might need another couple seconds. Alright, turn down your heat to about halfway now. Add in your diced onions from earlier. Let that simmer for about a minute or two before adding the garlic. Let it simmer again for another 2 minutes. And then we can add the water and bouillon. Next, smash in your 2 cloves of garlic. This one. Getting a nice brownish color, which is what you want. Let that simmer for another minute or 2. Next, add 1.5 cups of water or beef stock if you have. Wait till that comes to a boil. If you're using a powdered beef stock, be sure to follow the directions for how much to add for 1.5 cups of water. So for us, we're using 1.5 cups of water mixed with 3 tablespoons of beef broth powder, which is what the package actually says. You're also going to want to make sure that you buy a brand that is gluten-free, because a lot of beef broth actually put flour, wheat flour inside. So be sure to read the ingredients list. And if you already have homemade beef stock, then it would just also be 1.5 cups of beef stock. Okay, now that the water is bubbling, you can add your beef stock powder. dissolved, add back your rouladen. Okay, so now we're going to leave that covered and on, for us it's 3 in order for it to stay simmering. You can leave it for about an hour. Be sure to check it every 20 minutes to every half an hour, so that way you can flip it. Okay, a good way to test to see if they're ready is if you give them a few pinches. If the meat flakes off easy, you know that they're ready. These ones probably need another half an hour. Okay, we're going to check one more time now that it's been another half an hour. They're flaking up pretty easily. They feel a lot more squishy when you poke them, so I'd say they're done. Put the rouladen back on the plate you had earlier. You're going to want to add 2 tablespoons of cornstarch mixed with water into the vigorously boiling stock until it's a nice thick gravy. At that point, we can turn off the heat and add the rouladens back. You want to get them coated, so flip them over if they're not completely submerged. And they're ready to serve. Once you're done putting the rouladen back in the sauce and reheating them for about 5 minutes, you can plate them, and we have them with potatoes, as you can see here. Yeah, that's exactly how you want your meat to be, just easily broken with a fork. Be sure to tell your guests to take out the pins or the rope from around it. And ideally, the way you want the beef to be is easily broken up with a fork like that. Let's have a bite. Delicious. Thank you for watching the Gluten-Free Guru channel. Today we made rouladen. It pairs good with potatoes like how we have it, especially because it soaks up the gravy really nicely. You can also have some kind of vegetables with it. My grandma likes to make white asparagus. I like Brussels sprouts with it, or even just broccoli on the side. It's a very traditional German meal where you have your meat, potatoes, and vegetables separate, but the gravy really brings everything together nicely. So thank you very much. I hope you subscribe and look forward to next week's video.